Have you ever felt like you're constantly building something from scratch? Even when you know you've solved a surprisingly similar problem like a dozen times before?
Oh, absolutely.
Think about it. A new piece of software at work, maybe a fresh business partnership, or even just, an updated internal process. You get that frustrating sense that you're reinventing the wheel, right? Designing custom solutions again and again.
It's an all too common scenario, particularly in the complex world of business and IT integration. We see it constantly. A new SaaS application rolls out, and bang, suddenly you need entirely new data mappings.
Right, from scratch.
Exactly. A new business partner comes on board. Well, that's a whole new set of logic to build. Another new process, back to square one. It's like, I don't know, constructing a custom bridge for every single little stream, even when the streams look remarkably alike.
And the hidden cost of doing things that way, that bespoke one-off approach, it must be astronomical. It creates what we sometimes call a fractured architecture. Is that right?
That's the term, yeah. Imagine your house built by, say, 100 different contractors, each using their own tools, their own materials, no shared blueprint.
Chaos.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the result? Mounting maintenance costs. Just think about it. So many unique one-off solutions you have to manage somehow.
And the poor delivery teams.
It's just stuck in a loop. Endlessly repeating effort, building things they feel like they've built before. And, in today's incredibly fast-paced business environment, this custom approach, it just doesn't scale anymore. Speed is obviously critical. We all know that.
But consistency matters just as much, doesn't it?
It really does. If you're building everything as a unique project, you end up sacrificing both.
Yeah.
Speed and consistency. You become a bottleneck.
Which really brings us to the core of our deep dive today. We want to zero in on this crucial transformative shift that's happening, moving away from that project-by-project mindset
Right.
to a platform-based approach where reuse is really the guiding principle.
Exactly. And our mission here in this deep dive is to truly unpack what reuse means in this context, for business and IT integration.
Wow.
We're going to explore why it's not just a nice to have anymore.
Oh, it sounds like a necessity.
It's an absolute competitive necessity.
Yeah.
Our focus is squarely on the ROI of reuse, why integration can't afford to be custom anymore.
And we've pulled insights from some, well, frankly, eye-opening research and expert perspectives on this whole landscape as it evolves. And this isn't just about technical jargon for the tech folks listening. It's about understanding a fundamental shift that can make your entire organization faster, more agile, and, well, significantly more efficient. So prepare for maybe some aha moments that might just change how you think about efficiency, not just in IT, but maybe across your entire business. Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
So let's start by really digging into the pain of this custom mindset and integration. You mentioned that reinventing the wheel frustration. That's more than just a feeling, isn't it? It's a real drag on progress.
It absolutely is. I mean, consider this. Every time a new SaaS app is introduced or a new business partner comes on board, or even just a new internal process needs integrating, teams often fall into that trap, the default mode of creating entirely new mappings, new logic right from the ground up.
And that constant custom building, that's what leads directly to that fractured architecture you mentioned.
Directly. You end up with this sort of unorganized collection of individual solutions. They just don't communicate efficiently or consistently. It's messy.
And the real long-term fallout from that, because it sounds like it's not just inefficient at the start, but it creates bigger problems down the road.
No, it creates a maintenance nightmare, a real nightmare. Managing all these unique one-off solutions becomes incredibly complex, incredibly expensive. That's where you get those mounting maintenance costs.
Right.
Every time something needs an update or maybe just a fix, you might have to go in and touch dozens, maybe even hundreds of different custom pieces of code or logic. And in an environment where market changes happen, practically overnight, and customer expectations demand instant gratification, the luxury of building everything bespoke, it's just gone.
You can't afford the time.
You can't. If you can't scale your integration efforts quickly and reliably, you become that bottleneck we talked about. You hold back the entire organization.
Okay, so if this custom mindset is clearly the problem, what's the strategic shift? What's the solution? You hinted at it. The power of reuse.
Exactly. This is where the fundamental shift really comes into play. We're talking about moving away from project-based integration.
Where each one is its own little world.
Precisely. Each integration is a standalone project. And shifting towards platform-based integration where reuse becomes the guiding principle for everything you do.
Okay, reuse sounds great in theory. It makes intuitive sense. But what's the tangible impact? You mentioned a jaw-dropping statistic earlier. Give us the numbers.
All right, the data here is what's truly fascinating. There was a Forrester study, and it revealed something pretty remarkable. Organizations that were effectively leveraging reusable integration assets, things like pre-built connectors, templates, visual design components.
Building blocks.
Yeah, exactly, the building blocks. They achieved an astounding 295% ROI over 3 years.
Wait, say that again? 295%.
295 over 3 years.
Wow. Okay, that's not just a good return. That is genuinely transformative. What kind of productivity gains does that translate into day-to-day for the teams doing the work?
Well, beyond that incredible ROI figure, the study also found that the integration developers, the data architects, they saw 35 to 45% productivity gains.
35 to 45%.
Yeah. Imagine what your teams could achieve with that kind of boost, freeing up almost half their time, potentially.
It's huge.
And it's not just for the technical specialists either. The research also highlighted something interesting about enabling citizen developers.
Ah, the business users getting involved.
Right. Your marketing analysts, your HR specialists, people who, with these reusable assets, can now connect their preferred tools themselves, within guardrails, of course.
Without needing a full IT development cycle every time.
Exactly. And that resulted in significant cost avoidance for the overall organization.
So it's not just IT getting faster. The whole organization saves money and gets more efficient. And you framed these earlier as competitive advantages. How does that really play out in the market?
Well, think about it. When you can integrate new systems or onboard new partners or launch new services almost 3 times faster with significantly less effort, you're not just saving budget lines.
You're moving faster than competitors.
You're literally outmaneuvering your competition.
Yeah.
But it goes deeper than just raw productivity gains. Reuse is how integration becomes genuinely repeatable, secure, and strategic. It applies across both IT and the business domains. It's about building that consistent, reliable foundation that actually empowers growth rather than hindering it.
So this is clearly a strategic business move then, not just some technical fix under the hood.
Absolutely.
And that leads to a really crucial point. Why does reuse matter for both business and IT teams? Because like you said, for so long, integration was just seen as IT's problem to solve.
That's such a crucial distinction to make. Integration used to be seen solely as an IT problem, stuck in the back office somewhere. But today, it has undeniably become a business priority. Just think about it from their perspective. Business teams are constantly under pressure, right? Launch new services, expand into new markets, onboard new partners.
Faster, always faster.
Exactly. And they need to do all of this quickly. And often, the biggest frustration for them is getting stuck waiting in line for IT resources to get these critical integrations done.
Oh, I can absolutely relate to that feeling. You have a great idea, a market opportunity opens up, and then you hit that wall of, well, IT says they might get to it in 6 months.
Precisely. Meanwhile, IT teams are facing a different kind of immense pressure. They have to do more with less, constantly.
Right, the classic challenge.
Yeah. They have to integrate faster, yes, but they also have to ensure compliance in an incredibly complex regulatory environment. And they need to maintain control across these increasingly sprawling and complex technical landscapes.
So speed, but also security, governance. It's a tough balancing act.
It really is.
And this is where reusable integration assets kind of bridge that gap, isn't it? They offer a clear path out of that tension between business speed and IT control.
They really do. They create this surprisingly harmonious working model. Business users can operate within clearly defined boundaries.
Okay, guardrails.
Exactly. Which means they can assemble and adapt approved components, these pre-built, vetted assets for their specific needs without needing to understand the deep technical plumbing underneath.
Well, IT?
Meanwhile, IT provides the governed, scalable foundation. They focus on building it right once, ensuring it's secure and reliable, and then it gets reused often.
So IT maintains control and consistency while the business gets agility and some self-service capabilities.
It's a genuine win-win.
That model sounds not just faster, but you also used the word sustainable earlier.
Okay.
And you mentioned it fosters a shared language between teams. How does that work?
Yes, sustainable is key because the mappings, the templates, the bits of logic, they're all built as reusable assets. centrally available. They become understood, adapted, and reused across different areas of the business. This creates a common understanding, a shared library of components. It reduces miscommunication, cuts down on friction. It allows both sides, business and IT, to kind of speak the same language when they talk about integrating systems.
That shared understanding must be incredibly powerful for collaboration.
It's a huge shift.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. But let's clarify something. What does strategic reuse truly look like in practice? Because I imagine some people might hear reuse and think, oh, great, I'll just copy that old piece of code Bob wrote 3 years ago and tweak it. Is that what we're talking about?
No, and that's a really common misconception, so it's important we clarify this. Reuse isn't just about copying an old mapping, tweaking it slightly, and then just hoping it still works.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. That often leads to more problems than it solves, and it actually creates more of those fractured, hard-to-manage architectures we were just discussing. It's like, I don't know, finding a custom-built door from an old demolished house and trying to force-fit it into a brand-new door frame. It might kind of fit, but it won't be seamless, it won't be efficient, and it probably won't be secure.
Right. So it's not just about having a shared folder somewhere with some old files gathering dust. What is it then? What defines true strategic reuse?
True strategic reuse is about designing once and adapting often, but with guardrails. That's the mantra. It involves a deliberate, thoughtful process of turning integration logic into properly structured, shareable assets. These aren't just random bits of code lying around.
They're engineered for reuse.
Exactly. They are built with specific characteristics in mind to ensure their utility, their reliability, their adaptability.
Okay, what are those characteristics? How do we know if something is a truly reusable asset versus just old code?
Good question. There are generally 4 key characteristics we look for. First, they must be modular.
Meaning
They're built to work independently, but also designed to work well in combination with other assets, like Lego bricks. Self-contained, but connectable.
Okay, modular. What's second?
Second, they need to be discoverable. This is crucial. It implies they're stored in central catalogs or registries with rich metadata, clear versioning, and context about what they do and how to use them. So anyone who needs them can actually find them easily and understand what they are.
Like a well-organized library or even an internal app store for integration components?
That's a great analogy. A curated, always up-to-date app store for your company's integration building blocks. You don't have to hunt them down or guess if they're the latest version.
Makes sense. What's next after discoverable?
Third, they absolutely must be governed. This is critical for trust and reliability. It means there's clear, role-based access control, who can use what, who can change what. There's defined ownership, clear lifecycle management. Is this asset active, deprecated, retired?
So controls are built in from the start.
Yes. This isn't about policing things after they break. It's about having that master architect, like you said with Legos, who designs the bricks before you start building, ensuring every piece fits, is robust, and safe to reuse.
Okay, modular, discoverable, governed. What's the fourth?
Finally, they should be composable. This means they're designed to be easily adapted or configured for different systems, different partners, different regions, without having to rewrite the core logic entirely. You configure them, you don't rebuild them each time.
So flexibility, but within a controlled, structured framework. And the outcome of this kind of structured, governed reuse, you mentioned it does more than just reduce delivery time.
That's absolutely right. When you do reuse this way, it fundamentally builds trust. Trust in the logic itself because you know it's been properly designed, tested, and governed. Trust in the integration process because it becomes repeatable and standardized, not an adventure every time. And ultimately trust in the outcome, knowing that the integration will work reliably, consistently, every time.
Okay, so we understand what strategic reuse is now and why those characteristics are important. But it sounds like this doesn't just happen organically. Teams don't just suddenly start doing this. What kind of tools and architecture are needed to actually enable this?
You're spot on. Strategic reuse doesn't just happen by accident or by wishing for it. It requires dedicated architecture, tooling, and governance designed specifically to support it from the ground up.
You need the infrastructure for it.
You absolutely need the right platform and infrastructure built to foster this kind of collaboration, this asset management, this governance.
Can you give us some concrete examples? What do those tools and architectural components actually look like in practice?
Certainly. Well, one foundational piece, as we touched on, is a centralized integration asset catalog. This is more than just a folder. It's a proper registry. This is where all your reusable assets, the connectors, the mappings, the logic fragments, the process templates are versioned, validated, maybe even rated, and meticulously documented.
A single source of truth.
Exactly. It acts as that single source of truth, making assets findable, trustworthy, and consistent. That discoverability piece is key. Another critical aspect is building in design time governance.
So governance while you're building, not after.
Precisely. This ensures that assets are reusable by design right from the beginning. You use modular building blocks, you have permission-based access controlling who can create or modify certain types of assets. Consistency is built in. It's not an afterthought or a cleanup job later.
And what about the experience for the people actually doing the work, the developers, maybe those citizen integrators you mentioned?
Yeah, for them, you need a shared integrator workspace. This is an environment, often visual, that allows both your technical specialist and your non-technical business users to design and adapt integration flows. Increasingly, these workspaces might even incorporate AI-assisted mapping suggestions or process flow design to speed things up. The idea is to make it intuitive and efficient for everyone involved, regardless of their technical depth.
And that enables that separation you talked about.
Yes, it leads naturally to a clear separation of concerns. Your core developers create the complex, highly specialized, reusable assets, the really tricky stuff. Then, business users or citizen integrators can discover those assets in the catalog and configure them, snap them together for their specific needs without ever having to touch the underlying technical logic.
Which is safer.
Much safer. It's key to enabling safe reuse at scale. You empower more people without increasing risk.
This all sounds incredibly powerful, very well thought out. But, at the end of the day, businesses need to see tangible results on the bottom line. How do we actually measure the ROI of reuse? It's definitely not just about lines of code saved, is it?
No, absolutely not. You're asking the right question there. The real return on investment in integration isn't measured in lines of code or even hours saved directly, though those happen. Instead, it's measured in, I'd say, 3 critical business level areas. First, how quickly new business processes go live, speed to market.
Okay.
Second, how reliably systems and data stay aligned, consistency and trust in your data. And third, how effectively teams reuse what already works, that efficiency multiplier. Reusable integration assets directly impact all 3 of those key metrics.
Okay, let's break that down a bit more. What's the direct business impact? If I'm a business stakeholder, what do I see changing?
Okay, for business stakeholders, reuse translates directly into a significantly shorter time to value. That's the big one. A new partner comes along. You're not starting a 6-month mapping project from scratch. You're leveraging existing approved components. Takes days, maybe hours. A new SaaS application needs connecting. It can potentially tap into existing authentication logic, existing data structures, existing transformation flows almost instantly.
So faster onboarding is a major outcome.
Definitely. Faster onboarding of customers, partners, applications. You also see fewer disruptions from integration errors or misconfigurations because you're using validated, proven components that work.
More stability.
More stability, exactly. And you gain greater scalability when you roll out to new markets or scale up operations. And maybe most crucially for them, business teams don't need to wait in that line for weeks or months for IT to build something custom. They can move with genuine agility.
That freedom and speed must be huge for the business side. What about for IT? What's the tangible impact for them? They're enabling this, but what do they get back?
For IT, reuse is fundamentally about gaining efficiency and control. Instead of managing dozens of very similar integrations with just slight variations, remember that maintenance nightmare.
Right.
Now, teams work from standardized, vetted templates and components. This dramatically reduces delivery time, just fewer integration hours needed per use case. It significantly lowers maintenance effort. Why? Because one fix or one update to a core reusable component automatically benefits many, maybe hundreds of integrations simultaneously.
Yeah.
Fix it once, fix it everywhere.
That's incredibly efficient.
It is. You also see fewer error rates in production because these validated components are being reused as is without modification. Less room for human error. And maybe subtly, but importantly, it helps reduce shadow IT.
Those unofficial tech solutions people build themselves.
Exactly. Those often risky workarounds departments build because they feel they can't get what they need from central IT fast enough. When you provide a supported, governed, easy path for them to integrate things themselves using reusable assets, they're much less likely to go rogue.
So it channels that energy productively. It really sounds like a true win-win. And you mentioned a compounding payoff earlier.
Yes, absolutely. Think about it. Each time an asset is successfully reused, it inherently increases the value of your entire integration asset catalog. It proves its worth, maybe gets refined, and simultaneously, it decreases the marginal cost of the next integration that uses it or similar assets. So the more you reuse, the more valuable your library becomes, and the cheaper, faster, and more reliable future integrations get.
It's at an exponential benefit curve.
It really is. The ROI accelerates over time.
This really sounds like it's more than just an efficiency hack or a better way to build integrations. It feels like a fundamental shift in thinking, moving from just seeing integration as a task, a project, to seeing integration as a core business strategy.
That's exactly it. That's the paradigm shift. Most organizations, historically and even many today, still treat integration primarily as a project function.
You scope it, you build it, you deliver it, you move on. Done.
Right. Tick the box, move to the next fire. But in today's hyper-connected enterprise, that mindset is just obsolete. Integration's never finished. It's continuous. It's an ongoing, evolving capability that underpins almost everything the business does.
So this isn't just about doing integration better. It requires a complete change in posture for the entire organization, doesn't it?
Precisely. Organizations that truly embed reuse into their architecture, into their culture, they evolve dramatically. They make several key shifts. They shift from project delivery to platform enablement. IT stops being just order takers delivering projects and starts enabling the entire business through a shared, robust platform.
Okay.
They move from one-off builds to repeatable business capabilities. Unique solutions get productized into standard, reusable services that many can leverage.
Turning solutions into assets.
Exactly. And perhaps most powerfully, they shift from dependency on IT to collaborative ownership. It fosters a shared responsibility for successful integration across both business and IT teams. Everyone has a stake in making the platform work.
So integration stops being the separate kind of siloed thing that only IT deals with in the basement.
Right.
And instead it becomes this horizontal enabler across the whole company.
That's the ultimate vision, yes. It means integration can now properly support growth across different geographies, across different business units, across different customer segments, without requiring every single scenario to be painstakingly handcrafted from scratch every single time.
That allows for unprecedented agility and scale for expansion.
Truly.
And you mentioned a shift in scale, too. The more you reuse, the more value it generates. Can you elaborate on that virtuous cycle?
Yes, it really is a virtuous cycle. The more reuse is actively practiced and encouraged, the more value it generates for the organization over time. Your reusable assets organically grow your integration library, providing an ever-expanding toolkit, an ever-richer resource for future projects. Using standardized patterns inherently improves your compliance baseline because consistency makes governance and auditing much, much easier.
Less variation to track.
Far less. And as a direct result of all this, every new integration you undertake becomes incrementally faster, cheaper, and more reliable than the last one.
That's incredible. So the ultimate effect here is that the organization's overall integration maturity increases without necessarily increasing headcount or budget. That really resonates as a smarter way to grow.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And one critical point to add here is that this consistency, this power of reuse, it extends across different deployment models as well.
So cloud, on-premise, hybrid.
Doesn't matter. Whether you're operating fully in the cloud, maintaining on-premises systems, or running a complex hybrid environment, the principle of reuse, if implemented properly with the right platform, maintains consistency. You have one logical asset library, potentially multiple different runtimes where things execute, but the same reliable consistency and governance wherever you deploy those assets.
That flexibility is key today. Wow. This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the ROI of reuse. What really stands out to me is that, as you said, it's far more than just a productivity hack. It's a strategic imperative. It transforms IT from potentially being seen as a bottleneck into a powerful enabler of the business. It empowers business teams with agility they couldn't have otherwise. It builds trust across departments by creating these shared, reliable capabilities. And ultimately, it unlocks really significant ROI and accelerates growth potential.
It's truly a complete reimagining of how organizations can operate with greater efficiency, better collaboration, and really truly align business goals and IT execution.
Which leads me to a final, maybe provocative thought for you, our listener, to mull over after this. How many processes in your organization, perhaps even beyond just technical integration, are currently reinventing the wheel? Where else are you building things from scratch over and over? What other areas could benefit from adopting this design once, adapt often mindset? Where else could you build trust and scale more effectively by turning solutions into reusable assets? Think about it, the principles of strategic reuse, of modularity, discoverability, governance. They might extend far beyond just IT systems. What could you transform in your own world?